Before I call on Senator Blackburn, I'd make a point about the discussion you just had. Number one, the president could abide by the law by putting the person on administrative leave and writing us a letter why he's doing it, and the law would be abided by. The second thing is, if you look at all the corruption that's going on in USAID and all the waste of taxpayers' money, this guy should have been fired, Blackburn. Oh, well, no, before you go, I got one other thing. It's a letter for the record from 70 former Justice Department officials supporting Mr. Blanchard's nomination. It reads, in part, Mr. Blanchard is a special nominee in that he brings decades of experience both as a prosecutor and defense attorney. As a role of Deputy Attorney General, these experiences have given Mr. Blanchard a deep respect for and familiarity with the Department of Justice, rule of law, and the principles of the United States Constitution. Mr. Blanchard's experience, professionalism, integrity, and deep expertise make him the perfect candidate for the role. End of quote. I'll put it in the record without objection.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
You correctly argued that the president could have cured this fault by putting them on administrative leave and then giving us the detailed notice.
Yeah.
It's my understanding that is not what happened in this case.
No,
that's why I'm raising it so forcefully.
You're right, it didn't happen. I'm just trying to make the president's job easier. Easier.
And I'm trying to point out that in the case of inspectors general, which we all view as critical and valuable, he did not comply with the law that we wrote.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Ms. Blackburn.
I appreciate the recognition, and welcome to each of you. I appreciate the time that you gave me and my office to talk about issues that are so important to all of us and to our nation. And I appreciate that Senator Coons brought up the weaponization of the DOJ. We have lived through 4 years of this. We have watched the DOJ sit quiet. We have watched our colleagues say not a word when they knew Joe Biden was not making the decisions, when they knew full well things that they were parroting were not accurate, when they knew that there were 2 tiers of justice, 2 tiers of access, 2 tiers of treatment, and they said not a word. And so now they are trying to say, oh my goodness, look at what is happening. What is happening to my colleagues? The American people gave a strong vote and a mandate to President Donald Trump to straighten this mess out and end it, and to get this bureaucracy under control. That is why we have DOJ, that the American people are cheering, because they're tired of this. They are tired of paying for a government that is not responsive to the needs of the American people. So yes, indeed, they watched the DOJ be weaponized, show favor to some and disfavor to others, like parents that were going to a PTA or a school board meeting, or going after Catholics who were pro-life. And they are tired of what the Biden administration gave them. So yes, cleaning up, you better believe it. Is it time to clean house? You better believe it. Is cleaning house going to continue? Absolutely, and it should, because the American people voted for that. They want that. They deserve that. And I am pleased that we will have each of you over at the DOJ. Let's stay with this, Mr. Blanch, on the 2 tiers of justice and the weaponization. So there must be bipartisan concern over that. So tell me, what are some things you can do day one to make certain that we end this 2 tiers of justice? I know it is a priority for General Bondi, and I appreciate that she went to work day one on this. So tell me what you do.
I think the first thing I can do is support what the memos that Attorney General Bondi put out on day one. And the biggest issue that has to stop, and it already has stopped, and it can't ever happen again, is outside influence, especially political outside influence, having any role in the decision that the Department of Justice makes to prosecute a case. It just can't. And if it does, then that is not a just prosecution,
I
period.
appreciate that. I know Senator Lee talked with you about violent crime, and we have seen such an uptick. Part of this is related to the gangs that are coming into the country illegally. We had a raid take place in Nashville yesterday. 8 were indicted, 2 were Agua. This was on human trafficking. And beginning to break apart this ring is so very important. But these soft on crime policies have not served our nation well. In Memphis, we have an issue with violent crime and an uptick that is there. We've had a DA Mulroy over there that just will not prosecute these crimes and bring them forward. So we know that in President Trump's first term, there was a decrease in crime, violent crime, 17%. In the first year of Joe Biden's term, 43%. What a hike. The difference was soft on crime policies. And President Trump had a policy in his first term that federal prosecutors, and I'm going to quote, should charge and pursue the most serious, readily provable offenses. And I think that is something that we need to return to. So will the department return to that policy for their leadership for you and General Bundy?
I believe it already has. Yes, Senator.
Well, and the American people are ready to see it. I think that we have a bunch of security moms all across the country, and they are sick and tired of worried about their kids going to an event or trying to go to shopping or going to school and getting carjacked or mugged when they're out at night. Ms. Slater, I want to come to you. I passed legislation when I was in the House before I came over here, the BOTS Act, and it prohibits ticket scalpers from using software to buy high volumes of tickets. And the FTC sat on their hands on this legislation for 4 years, and they have taken only one enforcement action. Now, to a lot of people, they may say, why are you so worried about ticket scalpers? Well, in Nashville, Tennessee, this is a problem. And we want to make certain that fans are able to get these tickets. And we've also got the Main Event Act that Senator Lujan and I have done, which would strengthen the BOTS Act. But I know that you can't get into some specifics because of the ongoing Ticketmaster lawsuit that you are going to inherit. But I'd love for you to talk about some of the issues that you have observed in the ticketing market and steps that can be taken to clean this up.
Senator, thanks for the question. I know it's a hugely important issue for your state, but for all consumers, frankly.
Yes.
And so I totally acknowledge that. As with many pocketbook issues, we've seen a lot of prices go up and not down in some markets. Regarding the BOTS Act, I have the good fortune to have sitting behind me the chairman of the FTC, Andrew Ferguson, and I can absolutely commit to you that I will be working in close partnership with him, not just on this matter, this legislation, but hopefully all cases across the board, because we do have 2 antitrust agencies, and so coordination is really important. I would also like to visit with your staff to better understand the issues with the BOTS Act as they might see
We
it.
just need enforcement. We have had an FTC that chose not to enforce. Thank you. My time's expired.
Thank you. Senator Padilla.